So, hello everybody. My name is Nicholas Niku. I'm the CEO and founder of Classter. Welcome to Classter and Unleashed webinar series. This is, I think, the third or the fourth webinar for this year. And we are happy today to present the details of how Classter does timetabling, manage sessions, and student attendance. So this is quite an extensive area, so we will try to be detailed and cover all the different things that you can find in this particular area. So let's go to the agenda. The agendas. First of all, we are going to explain the main entities: what is timetable, what is a session, what is a calendar, and then later related to the attendance. We are going initially to focus on timetable creation, how we configure and create timetables, how we distribute or access the timetable of the students or teachers. Then we are going to discuss about sessions and the substitution. Then focus on the attendance taking, the different types of attendance, how educators can take attendance, how we can manage attendance, how we can justify messaging, and then discuss a bit the difference between check-in, check-out, and attendance. And if the time is enough, we will go to what's next, what is coming next, and to some advanced topics that we are going to discuss and refer today. So our vision about the timetable and attendance is that basically we want to integrate all this into one coherent package where timetabling, attendance, events, and sessions are used all together. And we want to give the tools to educators to take the job, do the job easily, and take the job out from the back office administrators and allow the end user to do the job. That means educator or the student or the parent. And of course, automate all the different pieces and different parts of that by providing the good analytical tools, reports, and of course, processes that the school or the university can use for taking attendance and managing timetables. So, timetable, let's go to some definitions. Timetable. Timetable for Classter is a weekly defined schedule. So it basically means that every week we have exactly the same schedule. Okay, so that is, then we create a timetable. So like me, Nikos, teaches math at class 1A in classroom 1 every Thursday at 10 o'clock. That it is a cell, an entry in the timetable. Now, how the timetable is implemented on a weekly basis, if next Thursday I'm going to teach, or not because there are vacations, or because I'm ill and there is a substitution, or I move my Thursday class to Friday, or any other change, that is implemented in sessions. So session is the event that we execute one particular lesson based on the timetable, or even not based on the timetable. So we can create an independent session, and then we say that Nikos is going to teach math on Saturday morning, which is ad hoc, only once. Okay. Now, so the session is the implementation of the timetable or any other plan that doesn't follow the timetable. An event, it is an entry in the calendar where we can invite people and attend the event, attend the session, let's say. But the difference between the event and the session is that the session is something academic, so we can do things with the session, put them what we have taught, take attendance, add marks, add the behavior comments. So the session is something, it's a lesson. An event can be a meeting afternoon, can be a parent to teacher meeting or a student to teacher meeting, or can be a meeting of parents or a meeting of students, or an excursion or a trip or a Christmas party. All these are events. So in Classter, we have the sessions and the events. And then all these are presented in the calendars, in personal calendars. Timetable is not presented in the calendar until it becomes a session. So when we execute The timetable, so we implement the timetable on a weekly basis, and a session is created, and that this is presented in the calendar. Another thing that we have to keep in mind that we have another timetable, which is just used for the extracurriculum activities. So in Classter, we have two timetabling tools. One's a timetable for the normal classes and courses, and then a special timetabling tool for the extracurriculum activities. Why so? Because extracurriculum activities, they have a simplified way of managing timetable because of the nature of this entity of what we do in extracurriculum. Okay, so it has a bit of a different approach to the normal timetable. So let's go to focus on the timetable initially. The main entities in timetable is the timetable category. Now, the category is what we can say we have multiple timetables. So we have the normal timetable and we have the COVID timetable. Or a category can be used if a school has a timetable A 1 week. Next week, timetable changes a bit, it's timetable B. Next week, the timetable A again, then timetable B, then timetable A, then timetable B. So we have every week another timetable. Or you want to test a new timetable. So you create a new timetable that is not really used by anybody, but just for the scheduler guy who is going to create a new timetable. So for that reason, we create different timetable categories. Only one category is usually valid and switched on at any particular time. It can be automatically, of course, selected. Okay, we will see about it. The next thing is that the timetable, it's a schedule. So what lessons we do every day, but it doesn't have a date. So it is, we say what we do on Monday, what we do Tuesday, what we do Wednesday. We don't say anything about the date. We don't say what we do on Thursday, 14th of April. We say what we do on Thursdays. Now, how we split the calendar, it is based on the periods, timetable periods. So we have two types of schools. Those schools that they have timetable periods. So let's say all classes, they start 9 o'clock, they finish 10 o'clock, then they have a second round of classes starting at 10 o'clock, they finish at 10:45, then we have a break, then they have a new set of classes and so on. And the whole school goes together or in groups. So we have the elementary school go one way, the high school going another way, but they go all together. Then we use periods. Then we have higher education or supplementary school or language schools. Then they go really not together. We have one class starts at 9 o'clock, another one starts 9:10, then another one starts 9:30. So it's completely freely. So how do we use this in Classter? We create 5 minutes periods. So we have a tool to create 5 minutes periods that basically allows you to start any class any 5 minutes. We cannot easily in Classter use cases where we have a class at 9:02 and then another one starts at 9:05, another one 9:06. But we can easily manage things like starting at 9 o'clock, 9:05, 9:10, 9:15, and so on. In reality, we split the periods into 5 minutes and then we group, we create a class with multiple 5 minutes. This is how it works internally. Two other entities that are used in the timetable creation is the classroom and optionally the resource. Actually, classroom and resources are optional. You can easily create timetable with no classrooms, and of course you can create timetable with no resources. Resources are things like we have a projector that we need to add in the timetable, we have this computer, this lab, things that we need to associate, equipment that we need to associate to a specific lesson. The days, of course, is the teaching days. We can go in Classter and define what teaching days we have. So there's some schools that work from Monday to Friday, other schools that work from Sunday to Thursday, and then they have Friday, Saturday, they have days off. Other schools, they work 7 days a week. We have two ways of creating timetables, the calendar view and the general view. The difference is that in calendar view, we work with one entity. So we work with one class, with one teacher, with one room. So we see basically on the columns, we see the days and the time. So from 9, let's say to 6, this is rows. So you have this, you can go and put then cells for that particular class or that particular teacher or room. And then we have the general view, where we see that it's more like a worksheet where you can see all the information of the day and time in columns, and then in rows you have teachers or classes or classrooms. So two ways of creating timetables. We will check both in the demo when we go to see the software. And then how do we create a timetable? Two approaches or three approaches supported by Classter. Approach number one, we initially agree with our teachers, our educators, where they are going to be allocated. So we enroll the educator to a class and to a subject they teach. So we enroll for example, class A, they do marketing, or class A, they do mathematics, or 1A mathematics. So Nikos is teaching 1A mathematics. Now, what days, what periods, we don't have yet decided. That is going to be done when we create a timetable. But we know that Nikos is going to teach mathematics in 1A, 1B, in 2C, and 3A. Okay. So this starts from enrollment. So first we do the enrollments. We know how many hours teachers are going to work, and based on that, we create a timetable. Now, second option is we create a timetable, and based on the results we have ended up, we go back and inform our teachers how many hours we have them, how many hours are going to work, and then basically we update Classter enrollments from the timetable. So basically we go and update the teacher cards with information about what groups and what or classes and what subjects or units they are going to teach. And that derives from the timetable. And of course, there is a third case that basically all the information comes from an external system. Okay, so we use an external timetables tool, and then all the information is imported into Classter. That can import both the timetable and the enrollments. Here also there is a CB, where the enrollments are done in Classter, they are exported to the external system, the timetable is created, and then this is imported back. So this is the methodologies of doing timetables. So let's go and see the demo now. Give me a second, please, guys. So let's start here. Move here, sorry. To the teacher. So you see here, I have my calendar where I can, these are sessions. There are also some meetings, other things, seminars, day off. But whatever you see with blue are sessions, lessons already done. And on the top, I see my weekly timetable, but in reality, I see my timetable for today. So what I see here is that I teach 8 to 9 in year 9B mathematics, 9 to 10. Then I go to another group where I do year 6 geography, then mathematics, then mathematics. So this is what I teach today. Okay, this is a timetable. So let's see how this is created and this is populated to the teacher. Before we go and see how we create a timetable, let's see how the teacher can see the timetable. So here, I'm able to see my full timetable, also with hours that I'm not available or I have another duty, like I'm in a school garden here, or those are sections where parents' meetings can happen. Okay, so, and you see I have, I may have also some extracurricular activities that I teach, they can be presented here. This happens if this is switched on. Similarly, a student can see their timetable and today's timetable, the default timetable that is expected today to happen. And here they can see what classes they have every hour. Okay, and the same thing for parents. So parents can go and see the timetable for all their children. So how do we create that? So this is populated to the portal of each user in Classter. So let's go back to back office administration. Here I'm a general administrator. And I will go first of all to the configuration to see the main entities and how those are configured. So the configuration related to the timetable is under the academic settings, where I have the timetable settings here. And you can see here timetable categories. So the first thing I need to do is I need to have at least one category. With no category, I cannot really go ahead and do anything. So let's have, you can see I have multiple categories. Let's check the information that the category has. A category can be active, so it can be used or not used. But the important thing, if this is going to be visible to all users. That means that teachers, students, and parents will see this category of the timetable. So let's say that I want to create a new timetable. I can copy all the timetable to a new category and disable it for all users. So it's active, I can use it, but it is disabled for the rest of the users. Now, I can have multiple timetables. So let's say that I want to have a timetable which is different per week. So I say week 1, week 3, week 6, and so on. I want to have this timetable. And then for the rest of the other weeks, I want to have another timetable. So I can create different categories, and I can say if the timetable is for all years or for all programs or for all languages, depending on my configuration here. And I can say if this timetable is going to be valid for all of this. So this is the reason that I can have multiple default timetables. So if I have multiple default timetables, when I go to open my timetable as a user, as a student, or as a teacher, the system will present only the timetables that are active, visible to end users, and then it will select the first default it will find. Usually finds only one default. It should find one default. So I may have one default for elementary school, another default for high school by adding the years, or I may have two defaults for elementary, but they change every week. So week 1, 3, and 6, I have this timetable category. The other weeks I have another timetable category. So all these are filters on the category that basically allow us to have multiple timetables, and those timetables to change during the time and users to see different timetables per day, which is a very advanced feature of Classter. Now, another thing is that the timetable has start and end date. So I may say that for November, for October, I have one timetable, for November, another timetable, and so on. So I can go and add start and end dates. Okay, the log date means that after the log date, nobody can change the timetable, accidentally usually, unless they come here and change the log date. So it locks the timetable for everybody. That is very useful. We have many people changing the timetable. So the person who is the supervisor has access to this screen, locks the timetable for everybody. Now, the second thing I need to do is to create timetable periods. With no timetable periods, I cannot create timetable. So how do I create a timetable periods? First of all, I suggest to go to the grid view here. The grid view will allow you to see a better view of the timetable periods. So you see any timetable period is related to location and to days. That is used in cases where, for example, we have a timetable period that is, we have 6 hours on Monday, 7 hours on Tuesday, 5 hours on Wednesday for the whole school, or for particular levels. So we have, for example, elementary school having 7 hours every day, but 6 hours on Friday. High school having 8 hours every day, but 5 hours on Friday. Things like that can be managed by having these filters. And of course, any timetable period is valid for specific category. So we can have different timetable periods per category. So we have different timetable periods if we have COVID, or I give another example, we have a timetable category, which is a normal timetable, and then the summer timetable or the Christmas timetable. And the periods are different. So we can go and configure all this by creating the periods. So let's open one period and see the data related to a period. A period has a short description. We can say if we want this period to be considered a break, so we cannot schedule lessons. It's a small break, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour, lunch break. When it starts, when it finishes, I will come to those two, to this one. The category, the location, the days that this period is active, and if it's used in timetable and services. Now, this means timetable is used for the normal classes and courses. for services means that you use for extra curriculum. Usually there are different entries, but also we can have it for both. All of these are multi-selected, as you see. The external code is used when we import data from external timetabling software. We want here to put the ID of the external period on the external system, if it exists, of course. Okay, now, one thing that is minute charts. When we plan in Classter, we say this subject, mathematics, is 3 hours per week, or 3 periods, or 3 hours. Now, if we say 3 hours, we usually mean for Classter, this is 180 minutes. Now, however, there are cases that we do 45 minutes period, and that is considered 60 minutes of teaching. So if I say 3 periods for the Classter is 180 minutes, and here you can say that this is from 8 to 8:45, but we charge 60 minutes. So basically, the next 15 minutes with a break, it is charged as mathematics. Now, that is used in order to have flexible periods, and this Classter to know that if I schedule 3 times from 8 to 8:45 mathematics, then I have covered the requirement of having 3 periods or 180 minutes of teaching. Now, if this means real 180 minutes of teaching, or means basically less minutes plus break time, that is basically managed by this minutes charged field here. So Classter will say how many minutes I have set in my schedule that I need for mathematics per week. 3 periods by 60 minutes, 108 minutes. What periods do I have? Let's take the minutes chart and add all the minutes charts. Are they 180? Yes, they are. So then the system says, you are okay with mathematics, please do not schedule more mathematics in this class. Okay, whatever happens, happens per class. So let's go now into the, give me a second, please. Let's go now to the next thing, how we create timetable periods in a bulk. Now, this is a very important and useful tool. If you need to go and create timetable periods, let's say from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at the night, 5 minutes, because we have classes starting 9:05, 9:10, 9:25, and so on. By creating timetable periods one by one, it's going to take you ages. So we have created this nice tool. Basically, what it says that I want to create a timetable period for that location. Let's say I want to create from 9 to 1 o'clock, and it's going to be 30 minutes. So basically, that means I can start at 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, and so on. I can do it if I press only one, it will create only one period. Then I can add a break, which I can say that this is a quarter, then another period, another half an hour, and so on. So it can work like this. Sorry, I set 30 minutes here, or let me clear, or I can go and put 0. So the system will create from, let's say, quarter past 10 until quarter past 3, half an hour periods, wrong button. So it will automatically create that. So let me go and delete what I just created. Which is maybe not created, so. So let's make it from 9 to, so it's from 9 to 1, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, put 0 here, add periods. The system now will create from 8 to 1, multiple slots automatically. You see? So it will create these 10 slots, and then of course I can go and do changes, I can do delete, and so on. And I can add a few things that I didn't add here if I want some to be timetables, some services, and so on. So this is a creation of timetable periods in a bulk. Now let's go to the next one, which is how we manage classrooms. Okay, this is quite straightforward, but there is one thing that is very important for you to understand. And that is important if you have multiple locations in cluster. So if you have one institute with multiple locations, or you have multiple institutes that you manage in a campus, okay, and you want the classrooms to be available to all institutes. Let's say the Institute of Engineer can go and do a class in the campus, in the building of mathematics. That is possible to be done. We need to create a classroom. So let's see how a classroom looks like, the form of creating a classroom, and how we manage cases like that. So basically, we have here the classroom data, description, external code. This is again for if you want to import the classroom from an external system and you want to match it. Some information about how many rows, how many the exam capacity, things like that, informative, just information. The important thing here are a couple of things. The timetable category, this is valid again, so it can be valid to some timetable categories. So we have the virtual classrooms that are valid only for COVID. Then we have the normal classrooms that are valid for the normal program, or you can have both for everything. It's up to you. The location, you can say, for example, this is location can be in the kindergarten school, the middle school, or can be the engineering faculty, things like that, or the mathematics faculty or the business faculty. So a classroom will belong to one of those faculties or one of those schools, and so on. And also it belongs to an area. Now, the area, imagine you have the map of the campus and you split it in geographical areas. It is used also in the check-in, check-out. So it is important that we map the classroom into geographical area. Usually the classrooms, it is in one logical geographical area called classroom in reality. And this is how we suggested to use it. But you can create other your own areas and so on. You do this from the drop-down list. Okay. Now, the important thing, however, here is when we go to the classroom settings, is to define how we want to use classroom, how we want to use utilization of classroom. That basically means if a classroom is considered to be booked by multiple locations or multiple institutions. So it can be, the utilization can be per location, per institution, and per cross institution. That basically means that if I do it per location, then a classroom belongs only to one location. It's used by that faculty. It's for kindergarten, used by kindergarten, cannot be used by high school. If I do it per institute, and I have in one institute the location, let's say kindergarten, elementary, high school, I can go and say that this classroom is used by all these. Okay, so it's used by everybody can use it. Doesn't matter if it's in a elementary, it can be used by high school. Now, imagine a case that you have your group of schools. So you have 3 institutes. So you have the school in London, school in Birmingham, and school in Manchester. And now you have the locations, elementary, high school, in each of these. So if you want a school from another institution, okay, from Manchester, to be able to book my classroom, then it is cross-institute. Now, of course, that doesn't make much sense in this particular example. It will make sense if we have, for example, a big university campus with a school of engineering, school of business, school of medicine. There are 3 different institutions. Each employee see only their students and so on, but classrooms are shared among those institutes. Now, if I go to institute or cross-institute, what I need to do is to create the classroom in all these areas. So that means that I need to copy the classrooms into each location or its institute. It will be one classroom from resource point of view, but each institute or location can manage 2 things, even can change the name. How do I do this? I can select one and copy the classroom either to another location or move it even to other institute, transfer to another institute. That will create classrooms per location per institute that are interconnected to each other. So when I book one, I book the other also. So the system will know that are booked. It can have different name per location or per institute. They can have some different data, different comments. So each organization can manage that, but basically they are different. Okay. Now, we have done the classroom. The inventory management is used to create projectors, computers, equipment we want to schedule in a meeting or an event or in a session we do, or in the timetable. We want to reserve all these resources. Okay, so if I do chemistry in the lab, I want to reserve maybe few chemistry equipments or other things. Okay, so this is on the resource section where we can go and create new resources and manage how many the unique barcodes. So if you have 10 laptops, each one has its own barcode. We can add it here and so on. So this is related to the resources. So if I have all this, basically I can start creating timetables. So let's go now to go and see the timetable. Before I go ahead, one important thing is related to if I match sessions or not. Let me explain that. Let's say that my timetable is split into half an hour. So classes can start 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, and so on. So the slots are half an hour, but my class is usually 1 hour. So in order to create a class that starts 9:30 and finishes 10:30, I need two entries in the database. One that says that is associated with 1:30 to 10, and one from 10 to 10:30. We want Classter to connect those because they are in a row, continuous, one after the other, and they are for the same teacher, the same classroom, the same class, the same subject. So if all these are valid, I want them to be one session because basically I have mathematics from 9:30 to 10:30. So this kind of stuff are defined here, and it says if actually this is done automatically. What I said, it was used to be a setting, but now it's automatically. Here the important thing is the default minutes per session. So I may have 30 minutes blocks, but when I drag and drop and create a session, I got 60 minutes to be the default, unless it's defined something different in the subject. I come to that. And then the slot, how I want the zoom out, zoom in the calendar. If I want to see the slots per 15 minutes or per 30 minutes, per 10 minutes, those are important stuff. Okay, and this is important. If I can overlap, if I can have overlappings in slots in calendar. So let's go to see in reality what all this means. So Google timetable in the daily management, and let's go to the calendar view. Usually we suggest to start timetable in calendar view. Timetable scheduling, as I said, it's an overview. You can see a lot of information. You can do changes, you can do entries, but usually it is kind of complex in comparison to calendar view. So calendar view, we can select the category we want to work with, the location we want to work with, the years, and the stream. So we can say, for example, I want to go middle and work year 5 only. But let's go and select everything. Okay, what you see here to the left, this is method number 1. Okay, we have done the enrollments, and based on the enrollments, we want to do the timetable creation. To the left, you see the enrollments. Okay, you see basically who, the teachers who teach something. So this Borka Lane teaches, let's say, take this example. Jenny teaches K1 and the subject is skill and abilities. We can say if the teacher or the subject or the student, or sorry, the teacher or the class or the subject has a classroom that is default, it will populate this automatically. So we know that, for example, K1A has a specific classroom, so it will go with that. It's a 60 minutes class. Okay, we haven't scheduled anything according to that. And then what we can start doing, we can start drag and drop. You see, by the time I do click here, things to the right change. What I see here is the class K1. So I can see the class K1. At the same time, I can see, because I've selected Jenny, that Jenny has some other classes here, you see? So it's grayed out, it's shaded. So I know that Jenny is not available at 10 o'clock. So if I try to schedule Jenny skills and abilities in K1, I see the empty cells, the blank cells, but here it's not a good idea because Jen is doing something else. Now, if the system is going to allow me to do that, to go and put this here, doesn't, or if allows me, that is a matter of constraints configuration. We will check this in a second. If I select this one, so go to hop K1B, you see here, I can change, I see the data and I've been in K1B, and I can see that hop doesn't have any other our schedule already. If I want to see hop's data, I can select and then I see what hop has. And if I see the classroom, one classroom, select a classroom here, for example, okay, I can go and select a classroom and the system will select this classroom, and then I can change any other classroom I want and see the classroom data for any classroom I want. I can do the same thing for any classes and so on. Now, in reality, I can open multiple windows, and if I do change in one window, that change will appear to the second window. So I can have, if I have a lot of screens, I can have one screen with classroom, one screen with teachers, and then play and change one and see the other. That is a manual implementation of timetable, which is valid for very complex timetables, or if I want just to copy timetable created elsewhere. The auto refresh is what it does. It does exactly this. It basically refreshes the screen every few seconds, so any data change in the database will reflect in my screen automatically. Now, another thing here is how I manage all this. So one important thing is, first of all, I can maximize my screen. I can go and do this, so I get more space. And if I go and want the full screen here on my browser, I will be able to see the full screen. Okay, let's F12, I don't remember. F10, F12, I don't remember. Oh, sorry, F10, I think. Now, the filters here allow me to filter the data. So I want to work now with year 6B. So sets, and I see all the enrollments related to year 6B. Okay, and I see how many hours are scheduled. So this is not scheduled. This is overscheduled, and so on. Actually, here I can say, I can have in the properties to hide whatever is fully scheduled. I can enable to see colors. So basically on the colors I've put on the teacher, on the class, on the subject, on the classroom, I can see different colors. And then I can go and start drag and drop and put things here. Okay, that small icon here means that the system now is controlling asynchronously because I can go and do another scheduling at the same time. It does a check if there is any constraint, okay, any problem on what I'm going to do. So like that, I create schedules by drag and drop. I can do the same thing by clicking here and selecting the educators and adding things here. So look, no subject is coming. Why? Because year 6 and Annie Monica says filter subject using enrollments. If I remove this, all subjects will come. So if I do this based on my settings, basically what I do, I enroll that Monica teaches English year 2B in English 2 in year 6B. Doesn't make any sense. English year 2 in year 6, but I can do whatever I want. It gives you freedom to do things. Another thing you can do is you can say that this course happens twice, 8 to 9, 3 to 6. It is one session maybe, or 2 sessions that is configurable. And that connect that this course is done twice per day, and it doesn't have to be one after the other. Okay, so we allow you to do this kind of stuff. So we interconnect this as one session per day, but in 2 different separated time zones. We can select which classroom, we can select resources and things like that. Now, that filter basically means if I should go and check the enrollments of Classter for deciding if this is possible or not. All that said, let's make a break here and discuss a bit about the enrollments, because some of you maybe don't know this. I will not cover much about it, just say a few words. In Classter, there is one connection between class and subject. So let me open this. So any class has a subject. Okay, so class with subject goes together. Any subject can belong to multiple classes. For the timetable purposes, also classes or groups can be main class, major class, or a subclass. So that main class is split into year 6 German, year 6 Spanish. That means that when I'm going to schedule German and Spanish, Classter indicates me that they should go together. I cannot do German 9 o'clock and Spanish 10 o'clock because year 6B, it will split in 2 subgroups and they do German and Spanish. Okay, what subjects I do in each group is defined here together with who are the teachers. You see, we have one teacher, multiple teachers. So we can create multiple teachers. So when we go to schedule, by default, the system can bring both teachers or not. This is a setting. If both teachers will be scheduled automatically. So when I drag and drop English year 6 for year 6B with English 6 for one of those teachers, do I schedule the other teacher automatically or not? Now, that depends on how your educational institution works. If the second teacher teaches separately other hours from the first, that should not work like this. If they do the class together, then it should work like this. By the way, that means that if I open a teacher, let me open a teacher here. If I go to the teacher, I can specify for a teacher that teaches a specific class and course. And then if this teacher is a main teacher or assistant teacher or whatever else. So we have different statuses, different types. Okay, so he can be whatever else. So and that plays a role then in the scheduling of the timetable. So if I have 2 main, they will be they will not be together, will be separated. So if I schedule for one, it will not schedule for the other. If I have 1 main and 1 assistant, by the time I schedule for one, it will schedule for the other, provided that this is enabled in the settings. It is configurable. Okay. And this is how many hours, as we said before, 4 hours teaching, year 6B, mathematics 6 for this teacher. When I schedule, I do the scheduling, create the timetable. The information then comes here and we can see how many assigned hours. This is from the timetable, from the enrollments from here. It will give me how many hours have been assigned. In this particular case, more than we have agreed in our contract, which is based on here. Okay, so if I make this 40, that will change and so on. Now, how do I do bulk enrollments? I can go to the student list and then or to the teacher list and do bulk enrollments. That's one way. Okay, so I can select multiple students. You can do these bulk things only in a grid view, not in a tile view. So you need to go to a grid view. I can take the students with one or the other way. So I select, for example, students year 6, and I schedule those. So let's say year 6. I can take the students and I can select them and start scheduling those into adding those to class and groups. This is important because if this is not done, the student will not see the timetable. I may say year 6B does mathematics on Monday, but for the student of year 6 to see it, it needs to belong to a particular group. So I select the students, and then I can go actions, enroll to class and subjects, and then I can add, and they will take all the subjects that are in this class. This can be one-to-many relationship, can be one-to-one, can be different things based on the type of educational institution. So this is how I create. Another thing I can do in only K-12 is I can use an enrollment section where I can enroll students to the classes This exists only to the K-12, doesn't exist in the higher education. In the higher education, we use curriculums, so it is a bit more complex. So you should use this tool, just presented to you. Here also you can enroll subjects to classes and educator to classes. So let's go back to timetabling and see a few other things. So this is how we create a timetable. You can copy also things. So how do let me delete that? You remove it out, and that is going to delete it. Okay, out and delete it. Okay, if I want to go, you can select here, copy. I can click here, put next, do a new copy. Okay, and the system will, because now I have timetable periods that are half an hour or an hour, says that you cannot start at 2:45. It goes up to the correct starting time, which can be 2 o'clock. If you do it 5 minutes, this fix will be to the 5 minutes. When I was saying 5 minutes, you say that you create slots of 5 minutes for the particular timetable category. Okay, so then you can start 9:05, 9:10, and so on. In this particular time example, my slots are hourly based. Okay, so let's remove this. Like that, I manage most of the stuff related to my timetable. Here I have nice information, so I can go here and say, give me the educator details. Sorry, but my computer, when I share, sometimes it's very, very slow. So you see how my schedule is, what I'm scheduled. So what is enrolled per day, how many hours, and in what groups, and for each group in what subjects. The same thing applies for the classes. So for year 6B and for the classroom. So I can see what is per day, how many hours are scheduled, and so on. So that gives you some nice overview of things. The shade related is related to the Borg. So if I remove this, the shade will go away if I do a refresh, which is useful if I want to improve speed, because that makes more calls to find it out. Now, a few other things that are important. Before we go to the constraints availability, let's go to the actions. Here, let's start with copies. You can copy the timetable from one category to the other. So basically that also creates a copy of timetable hours. You can copy classrooms, things like that. You can do this in each entity. And from here, you can copy the timetable category. Also, you can copy the timetable from school period to school period. So from year 21-22 to 22-23, you don't need to recreate. You can copy and do changes. If your timetable is very identical from year to year, you can go and do that. You can delete timetables based on filters. So you can go and say, I want to delete Monday, only the second hour, only for the kindergarten, or let's say for the elementary school. Okay, for the primary school and for all years of the primary, and I don't care about the stream, delete. That will do a delete only for Monday, for the second period of the timetable period for the kindergarten, so you will clean it up. Now, another important thing is the action of updating the enrollments. So basically this action, what it does, it will come to the teacher, let's say to some teachers, let's say take this teacher here, the book. And basically what the system we want to do is to update the enrollments on the teacher. So basically what we want to do is to update this form here. As I said, this can be done before the timetable creation because it's the agreement of what the teacher is going to teach and when. But we want, after timetable is created, to change this agreement because the timetable has led us to change this. And although we had promised this teacher to teach only on year 6B and year 1B, finally we have to teach in K2B. Okay, mathematics. So because that's the only way I managed to do my timetable. So if I want to update the teacher form with whatever the timetable says, I will need to go here and basically copy the timetable from category main. If I leave this empty, it copies everything. But if I want only specific years, I will copy only specific years. So it will influence only the data of the specific year. Now, those two switches are very important. The first switch means that if I have this switched on, the system will firstly go here and will make all this 0. Everything will go back to 0. So it will not touch the enrollments. It will just make the hours 0, the agreed hours. Then it will run the synchronization, and all the data from Timetable will go in and update this list. That may lead to a situation where it adds some subjects in classes, but it does not change, it does not touch any existing class or subject. Now, the result might be that if, for example, language 6 is not scheduled at all for this teacher, that will end up with 0. Okay, because from the timetable, no entry came. We had selected at the beginning here to say update that to 0. So initially the system went through these boxes, made everything 0 to all teachers, selected based on the years. Be careful. If here you select only year 6, it will do this only for year 6 lessons. So only for that. Okay, it will not do it for all lessons. So it will do 0. And then it will read the total number of hours per week and what entry. So it may add a new subject or a new class doesn't exist here. And then it will populate again with the right number of hours. Now, if year 6 is not anymore in my timetable, language year 6, that will stay 0. So basically it's not timetabled. It's not even enrolled to the student in reality, but that is kind of rubbish. So I want this to be removed if it is 0, because that means that in the timetable doesn't exist. So if I want this to happen, I need to switch this on. So it will go at the end, whatever file is still 0 after the sync with the timetable will be away from the card of the teacher. So basically this procedure takes the data from the timetable and sync the data to enrollments of the teacher. So change basically the contracts or the agreements with our employees. So we do this to automatically change what we have agreed with the teacher based on the timetable we eventually have created, which might be different than the initial thoughts we had. So this is what this tool do. So let's go now to see constraints. So constraints can be in different levels. First of all, subjects can have constraints. So let's go to the subjects here. And enable the subject, see the subject constraints. So let's take any subject, we don't care. And go to the timetable tab. Now, to the bottom, the timetable as scheduled today is going to be appeared. Okay, so I can see this one in what classes, so for all classes. Okay, if here geography year 1 it is in 4 classes, it's going to be here for 4 classes. However, we can say this timetable is only valid for specific timetable categories. So let's say we have a timetable category Christmas. We don't do all subjects, we do only specific. So for that, we want to add only specific subjects there. Or those that are not done in Christmas will not be in the timetable category, or a subject is not done if it's COVID. So for the COVID timetable category, it is not selected. Now, keep in mind, an empty entry here means valid for all timetable categories. So if you want it only for main, you need to add main explicitly. This is timetable periods not allowed. So let's say mathematics are not allowed first hour. Gym or physical education is not allowed last hour or after lunch. Okay, so you can say what timetable periods are required for or are allowed for this subject only. An empty, again, field means for all. How many minimum minutes? So you can say mathematics will be 2 hours lesson. I don't want 1 hour lesson for mathematics. So here you will put 120 minutes, even if we have 2 periods of 45 minutes each. 45 minutes, a quarter of break, 45 minutes, 10 minutes break. We will put 120 here because the charged minutes is what we calculate. Because on the 45 45 minutes period, we need to add 60 minutes of charge. Okay, and then the max minutes. So we don't allow mathematics to be 2 hours. We want only 1 hour because people get very tired. So you will add 60 here. So this kind of things can be scheduled in mathematics. Let's go back here. We can go here and put availability for different things. Let's put availability initially for the year. So what we say, let's say we have nurturing or a business school, or we have, I don't know, aviation school. Every Wednesday morning, the aviation students have to go for practice, for internship. So we don't want to have aviation Wednesday morning and Friday morning, things like that. So you can go and say that is blocked, that period is blocked, that period is blocked. I don't want to allow Classter to allow you to schedule Wednesday or Friday for aviation, only aviation, or for year one. Okay, things like that. How do I remove it? Out, removed. You can select the year you want to do that. Okay, the same thing you can do with classroom. We have this classroom, which is not our classroom. We read it out, but only for the afternoons. So these classrooms to be available only for the afternoon meetings and for the afternoon events. So again, we can go and say that this is available, or it's not available during the morning. Okay, and create this stuff. So it's not available during this. Okay, and you do it. The same thing for classes. So you have specific classes. And for educators, let me show you the educator because I think it has more interesting to go from here. You can do it the same way with the calendar. However, in the availability and constraints of educator, we can say which dates he can do it, he cannot do it. We can go and say specific dates. This is important for events only. So we can say on that date he's not available, or on he's available for meetings. So in the teacher availability, we have two things: available for meetings, not available for timetable. Basically, those are the combinations that play today. Don't get other combinations done. They are not going to work. Okay, available for meetings, not available for timetable. Okay, so a teacher who does teaching every Monday morning in another school is not available for Monday morning. Keep in mind that we can allow teachers to do that. This is a setting, but as a teacher, there's a teacher. This is a parent, this is a teacher. So let me change the color here also, to have a different view so it'll be easier for us to understand what is what. So make this red. Okay, so a teacher has the ability to set availability from here. Okay, sorry, wrong click. So he has the ability to set availability here. All right. So the teacher himself can set availability. I'm not going down to the parents' meetings, things like that. It's another webinar. We've done it, but basically it can be used also for parents' meetings availability. Now, finally, if we go to the calendar view, we have the constraints management here. Here we can enable a set of controls to be done by Classter. Multiple controls are important. For simple things, if I'm going to reserve a projector, if the projector is already reserved for another lesson, things like the educator hours, we say that the total hours of educator teaching is 25. I don't want to timetable the educator to 26 hours. Or per subject, I say that this educator teaches mathematics 5 hours. If I want this to be checked or not, if I do it 6 hours. Timetable availability, I said Monday morning, the educator is not available. I don't want the educator to be scheduled on Monday morning. The student enrollments, the student is in multiple groups. So in year 6B, then he's mathematics advanced, then he's Spanish advanced, English beginners, things like that. What happens if I accidentally schedule 2 classes that the student belongs to 2 classes. So check each student if it's available of the class. The student time availability, very advanced. So we can say the student is not available on Wednesday afternoon, mainly for supplementary schools. The subject hours, so I say that I teach total mathematics 10 hours per week. Is it scheduled 10 hours, even with different teachers? The subject constraints, what we saw before, first hour, last hour, 60 minutes, and so on. Here, if the class and subject, this is related to the enrollments, if I allow to do connection of class and subjects that they're not officially connected to each other. The check classroom availability and size. If the classroom has a size of 0, anybody can go. If it has a size of 10 and the class has 15 students, then the system will say, we will not add this class to this classroom. Classroom availability, class time availability, year time availability, and so on. And this one means that I cannot schedule year 6B if I have scheduled year 6B. If I have scheduled in 1 hour year 6B English or German, I don't want to be able to schedule any other either main group that is related to that or subgroup related to that. So in that particular example, as I presented before, where it's year 6B and the year 6B Spanish and German, they go together. If one schedule, I should say schedule German and English, but not the father at the same time. So I cannot go and say you do year 6B mathematics and at the same time you do year 6B English. It's not possible, because it's subgroup. So this is, we have a lot of reports here. I'm not going to go through these reports, but there are some reports that you can show. The only thing I will show you related to the reporting is how massively I can email the timetable to students or to teachers with one click, or to the parents. So basically what I'm going to do, I have the grid view here. So I want everybody to receive the email with the timetable. So I can select all my students or some students, or I can select classes. It's up to me. Usually we suggest doing this per class or per year. I don't know why it's so slow right now, but it seems that drawing is very slow in my computer. So I can select everybody, bulk action, bulk reporting notification. So to the selected year, okay, I can select a year, set it to a year. I can send email or I can create PDFs in a zip and then print it out. Next. And I want to have the student timetable. And then I say I want to set the main timetable with activities in or without activities, extracurricular activities. Next. Who is going to receive it? Parents. So the parents of those students. I want to use a template if I have one. OK, I can see myself. So I receive also the email for everybody. Now, if I do this for the whole school, I will receive 2,000 emails or 200 emails, depending on how many students and parents I have. And then I can press save. OK, and if I want to export it to Excel, I can export to Excel who has received it and so on. So finish, that basically means that if I do this, finish, the system will start doing this on the back. And when it's finished, I will receive here in my messages a notification that this is done. So this will start now sending emails to all these parents of all the students for the timetable, all generate on the back and start doing the job. Okay, it may take hours before it finishes, of course. It depends how big your school is and how difficult your timetable scheduling is, many different things. But basically, it generates PDFs and sends to everybody. So everybody will receive the same thing we see here in the PDF, the thing we see here on the timetable. Okay, so a couple more things to finalize with timetable. How do I do imports of the timetable? So if I create my table externally, I can import it. Now, one thing to mention here, Classter today does not support an automated timetable creation. So we don't have the capability of going creation the timetable automatically. There are external tools doing that. You can use it and import it. Today we have integration with Ask Timetable and Undis Timetable. And in the new version coming this summer, we will integrate with Scholaris and Royal Schedule. Those two tools, they are cloud-based, web-based, automated timetable tools with a lot of nice features, very nice, both of those tools. So the Scholaris is more for K-12, the Royal is more for higher education. So basically, we will give you out-of-the-box integration that you can go push all the information from Classter to those systems, do the timetable automatically. You can create a lot of timetables, so you can start creating timetables. There are some limitations and some charges in some cases, but basically you create a lot of timetables, you optimize your timetable, and then you set automatically the data back into Classter. That is our vision for that. For the time being, you can use the integrations we have. So you can go to mass import, and basically you can go to the timetable here, and you can either import from Excel or for mask XML or units XML. If you, for example, you go to Ask XML and you get one of those XMLs, basically what you need to do is you go through a phase where you need to integrate or basically map the different elements of Classter and Ask so they map together. That is quite trivial sometimes, but can be quite difficult in other times. The problem with these timetable tools is that they do oversimplifications that do not exist when they use this in a real environment. Okay, so we want to have that you do English or Spanish because they have different curriculums, different content, different teachers. In some cases, a lot of customers we see, they say foreign language, that's it. So we don't know, you do foreign languages, it's Spanish, it's English, it's German, we don't know. Okay, things like that, they create complications. Sometimes you may need to change a bit your structure of Ask Timetable to do a real mapping, a good mapping. Usually this is for good. Usually what you do there is just for people to save time. They can create a timetable, but when you go then to import it to Classter, the information must be much more detailed because you do other things. You take attendance, you put content, you do assessments, some assignments, you give marks. You need much more detailed information. So you can do the mappings of classrooms, of educator, of classes, and to match. The system tries to do the match automatically based on the labels. So if it finds exactly the same label, it will room one. Yes, it is the same thing. Okay, but you can do changes here. You can go and change things. And if it's not found, it's ready, then you need to do yourself. So this is how we import it. And once imported, you can import it into specific timetable category to the production or to another one. You can then copy it from one to the other. You can do all the nice stuff that you have in Classter. And then you go to the actual stuff, which is the sessions. So let's go back to the sessions. If you have questions related to the timetable, you can start firing from now. So timetabling, done. Let's go to, to sessions. Where are we here? So as I said before, a session is indication that a specific timetable slot was done on a particular day. Okay, it was done on Thursday 14th, not last Thursday, this Thursday. If this timetable says that I teach mathematics 8 o'clock on Thursday morning, but for some reason I'm sick and somebody else teaches, that is a substitution. That requires a session or not. I will come to that, but basically it should require a session. So it's a session that somebody else does this selection. Or if I don't do it on Thursday, I'm in a university, and for some reason I'm sick and say, guys, we will move the lesson to Friday. That will go to Friday. Okay, so a session, however, can be recorded at the time we start the lesson. So it's used to say that I started doing the lesson, I finished my lesson. So it's like attendance for the teacher also. If I do my lesson, then I attend the lesson, okay? And then I can calculate number of hours worked per month. Or it can pre-done. So a session can say basically, let's go to plan next 4 weeks. So we go and we plan for the next 4 weeks based on the timetable, but also we can do ad hoc things. We can do changes then, okay? Or it can be something that is done after the lesson is done. So I do the lesson in the class, I go to my computer tonight and I create the session, upload material, I put remarks, I take attendance, and I do it later. As I said, when I want to say that Nico is not going to teach today, but Peter is going to teach, that can be a substitution for a specific session. So I create a session where I say I substitute Nikos with Peter. And then Peter can take attendance, although Peter normally doesn't teach this lesson. Okay. The session has a lot of editing. So when I create a session, which is basically a lesson, I can do different things with that session. I can automatically create online meetings, and that is one of the reasons that we pre-plan sessions. So, for example, in COVID, our customers usually do sessions for the next week. So all online meetings are populated into the calendars and all automatically created in Teams or WebEx or Zoom, or even combination of that. One teacher in Teams, other teacher in Zoom, the third teacher in WebEx. Theoretically, this is possible to be done. I will not talk much about these online meetings because it's a whole session on its own, but I will just refer to that in a couple of areas. Okay, then I can take attendance and I can put the planning, what I have taught from the subject planning. I'm doing well, I'm behind schedule, I'm in front of the schedule. Then I can give homework and duties, which can be per class or personal. Students can do things, can return back to me. This is part of the homework. Unofficial, no marking. I can create assignments. By the way, assignments can be integrated with assignments for Google Classroom or Teams Classroom. I can do daily marking. So every time I do a session, I can give a mark, can be descriptive, numeric, can be he didn't bring books, he didn't do the assignment, he was disruptive. So it can be completely descriptive or behavioral. I can give thumb ups and down badges, things like that. Or I can do full remarks, essays, write things, or speak to my mobile and write things in my mobile about a specific student using the mobile app. So sessions, as I said, can be created by the educators when they start the lesson, or can be planned or created in a bulk by back office employees. So let's go to see the demo of sessions. So somewhere here I'm a teacher. Here I'm the teacher. So I have here my timetable. You see here that there is this icon. If I go to another day, let's go back. You see here plus. What's the difference? Why this is plus? This is plus because the session is not yet created. This exists because the session already created. Now, if I have pre-created the sessions, the symbol I see is this one. If I see the plus, means that I need to add the session as a teacher. Okay, if I want to measure the working hours for teachers, I will not pre-create sessions, so everything will come as a plus. Now, this is gray. Why it's gray? Because it's based on the time is the one that should count as the active class right now, which is strange because this should be the correct one, but I think I need to check that. Why? Now it was refreshed. This would be, it was before 2 o'clock the last time I refreshed. So once I open, I go to my dashboard. I will not spend much time here, but I will say a few things about that. In my dashboard, what I can say is what I taught from the planning. So in the subjects, I can do the plan, what I teach every week, every day, every lesson. I can put material, I can put whatever, I mean, files, things like that. And then I can copy this here. And then I can do changes. I can say what different things I've done. Okay, I can add files. Files also can be pre-populated from the plan. I can say what assessments I did in the class or what assessments I gave them to do outside the class, or that today I inform them about the exam that is going to happen in 1 week or a test. From here, it is the online meeting to Zoom or to Teams. So any person can go from here and go to online. And when I start my class, I press here so people can join from online. And then from here, I start taking attendance. So now I do a small jump to the attendance to show how I can take attendance. In this case, We will speak more about attendance in a while. So here I have all the students. You see, students can be present online or present in class. I can say that somebody is absent. So, and I know the reason. I sent him out. So this is unauthorized, where this one is absent in classes, and that is because she was sick. So that was authorized. I can comment about this, and I can take attendance with mobile app. We will see this later. So like that, we can save the attendance. If I press save and submit, then it's directly visible to the students and the parents. Just save, it is not visible to them yet. So save and submit to go back to the session. In the session can do a lot of other nice things, including giving, so let's go back to the session, sorry. So I can do session marking. It can be simple numeric, can be descriptive. I can create my rubric. Each course, each subject can has its own rubric, different things that I want to, and this is done per lesson now. The same thing, you can do it per term, you can do it per exam, you can do it in different areas, in different cases. So you can say he did no homework, this one, it was disruptive, those were absent, and I can put a mark here, 19 out of 200, where in this one he was good, 100, things like that. And of course I can write comment, but I can have a general comment about the session, but also can have specific columns with other more comments. So this is for only that particular lesson done, okay? And then I can save and publish again, if it's visible or visible to the parents and to the students, or it's also only visible to me. And I can go back to the session. Usually this is done during the lesson. We can add things, we can see the average marking. We can also see how the students are supposed to be sitting. So the sitting area, the sitting plan of the students. We can design how they sit per classroom and per subject. So we can say where they sit. There we can put thumb-ups. We can see the remarks added to the students from me or other teachers for the particular date. Also any remark that I'm available to see. I can go and give a badge for any student. So he was best of the week, first in class. And I see that I have 2 badges. So I can start doing things like that, all in one nice integrated environment. And then, of course, I can go and give homework. I'm not going to discuss how homework are configured today. This is more on the academic. The important thing for you is to know that from the session, you go next step, and you can go and give per class or per student. You can give homework. You can attach files. You can see what they have to do at home. And a lot of nice things. You can send those by email to the parents or to the students. You can copy from one class to the other. You can take the homework from last year and say that this is what they do on that particular lesson and so on. So those are part of the session. So let's go to the next thing, which is how we bulk create session based on the timetable, because the sessions are the implementation of the timetable. So I'm here as a back office administrator. I go to the timetable, and I forgot to say about timetable scheduling. Sorry for that. I'm going back for a second to the timetable scheduling, which is exactly the same tools like I did before. The difference is here we can have an overview. So we can see all classes, how they are scheduled over the week. So it's very useful. You see here, year 1, here, this is my classes. I have Monday, Tuesday, so I can see all days and how the situation looks like. I can move a class from one to the other. I can do things like that. Okay. So this is getting used for that. I can see per class, I can see per educator, and I can manage my timetable nicely this way. Okay, so this is per educator. So I can see how each educator, so I can see who is available today, Monday, 9 o'clock. Is Joy available? Yes, he doesn't have any class. Okay, so I can add him a class. So I can do things like that. This is not a substitution, this is a permanent timetable. So let's go now to see the session list as a back office. What I can do, I can open my timetable again for today. So basically, we can say create a session from timetable. So let's take all locations for this week set. Now, we did forget to select dates. Let's take the whole week. Now, that will take some time. Now, it reads the timetable. It reads also the sessions. So we know exactly the timetable, what is supposed to be happening, what is happening based on the sessions. So whatever it is, you see, now it will be all scheduled because I ran automatically the sessions. So basically the whole timetable for the whole week is scheduled already. So basically you see only sessions, but otherwise you see both timetable and session. Okay, that may take some time because we reach all the week, it reads also the session. You can look, usually you work per day, not per week. Usually it doesn't take that long, but I think my computer is very slow on drawing on the browser when I share sometimes, not always. But you see here they have multiple sessions. So you see the view is a bit different than the timetable. So this is all the different classes and the sessions that are scheduled in my table. I can zoom out, zoom out. And if I start creating here a session for the particular Monday, this is Monday 11th, okay, I can add a teacher doing a specific only for that Monday. Okay, that is basically a substitution, more or less. Or not more or less, it's a substitution. Or a new extra lesson. Or I can open a specific lesson and I say for that lesson that is normally done English, it's not going to be by this educator, but it's going to be by this educator. And I can remove English. So Borg is going to do this. Okay, she is going to substitute. So that changes. I can see the lessons, I can change it. Another way I can do with, and if I press save, it will create all the timetable sessions. Another thing I can do is I can go and import sessions. That's another tool, a bit different in reality. Must import sessions. Now, that can be done one by one. So I can start creating and say, I want to create a session for a primary school, for year 1B, year 6, Borg LNA at 8 o'clock on that classroom. And I want this to happen until June, end of June. So every Monday only. Okay, so every Monday, starting from 14th of 14th, every until 30th, go there and check your holidays. So if we have a holiday registered, a day off for this particular class, year 1B, year 1, then please don't schedule. Okay, so don't schedule during this time. For you that you don't know how to create holidays, as a short note there, you can go to the general settings. In the localization, you will be able here to holiday configuration. So you can go and configure your holiday. You can copy holidays from year to year. 25th of December is holiday every year if you are from a Christian country. So basically, you can have the holidays here. Keep in mind that any holiday is can be for specific date for a period of time, so 2 weeks, for example, and also can be visible for specific years. And we can be also day off only for assignments. So we can do lessons, but we don't do assignments. Okay, things like that. So another thing you can do is you can create from timetable. So you can say I want primary school main for that week for Thursday, take all the lessons only for that date. All right, and create sessions for that date. Or if you put here as for following week, next week, or this month, it will basically do exactly the same thing for the whole month. Okay, so it's basically will create every Thursday for the whole month. It will create sessions now. Okay, so like that, I can schedule every Thursday the sessions in advance. Here I can see what is the related session. The session is related to the timetable. I can copy the line. I can do changes to this line. So I create also every Friday only for that So I can do nice things here, a lot of nice things actually. So I can just like that create sessions. Now, any session created as a back office admin, I see it here. So I have the sessions here. I can see it as either as a list or as a calendar. So I can see all the calendar views of all sessions. The difference between the create from timetable, this one, is that the other one incorporates a timetable. Here, I see only what is scheduled on this month. So I can see what is scheduled every day. So because it's a demo now, no, let's take this month. So you see all the sessions for this month in a form of a scheduling. What was going on the scheduling? So for the whole month, and of course you can see only for a specific educator. So let's see only for Borg. So give me all the sessions that Borg did this month in a form of a calendar view. I want to do like this, so I can see what is registered for Borg. So this is a very handy tool. I can open from here and go into the session management as a back office, and I start doing nice stuff here. So I can say, for example, I can do, let's say we have two groups they need to do together because the teacher from another group is missing. So I want to connect two groups only for that particular day together. How do I do this? Add co-teaching. So again, Borg. Okay, she's doing another group, year 6B, that normally they have mathematics. I will add them together. 6B, no, 6B is already. Let's take another one, geography. So I'm in a small school, year 1B has no teacher, nobody's available for substitution. I will connect for that particular lesson the two classes together. Okay, or I substitute the teacher. I don't want Borg to be there. Finally, last minute, Borg said that he's not coming, so Denzel is going to come. That creates substitution. Okay, now when a teacher goes to take attendance, the teacher can have the substitution mode switched on. So here, if I activate the substitution mode, here will come only the sessions I teach or I substitute for the particular date. Okay, now that there is another operation mode here that any class can be visible here. So I switch on. Why is this there? Because a lot of schools say I don't want somebody to go to the session. I want to pick up any teacher, go and take attendance. Can we do that, please? I don't want to go to the session, change, put the substitution. It's the correct thing to do, but I have no time. I'm running like crazy. So how can I simplify things? You can simplify things by going to the general settings of attendance and then find substitution and say that you want free substitution. This one. Now, that has a security issue. Any teacher can take attendance for any class, switch on substitution, and they do whatever they want. So you have to trust them. Okay, we don't suggest that. We suggest to go through the sessions, create a substitution and go through the sessions. If you don't have this, you need to have a session to go. Okay, so that's it. I think we are ready to go. And just to say that the session is also available to the teacher, so the teacher can do similar stuff on the sessions, can find all the sessions either in a calendar view or a timeline view. Just the teacher usually goes to the session dashboard. Okay, not to the session editing form. Here, if I go to the editing though, if I'm allowed to edit, you can see the meeting here, online meeting links. I can connect it to another timetable program. So basically means that, okay, I did mathematics year 6 for today, but that actually relates to another program, another mathematics, another day. Okay, if it exists, of course. Things like that. Also, that is available to the student. So the students can see all the sessions and the marks of the sessions. So we can go and see all the sessions, what has happened, open it, read the material of the teacher, and so on. So this is the way I can see it also like this, which makes more sense usually because I can see also the comments here. And from here, I can go directly to the online meeting or to the session dashboard. If there is online meeting, I can also go to the online meeting. So maybe I can, again, see all the information is there. This is empty, the particular one. Go to attendance. So let's go back to attendance because the time is passing, is running. So attendance. Sorry. There are a lot of different ways of taking attendance in Classter. Why? Because different educational institutions, they need different methodologies of taking attendance. One typical way is to take attendance once per day. So the student is present or not present in the school. We don't take attendance every single lesson, but only once per day. This is very typical in many in elementary level. Or sometimes it's also used in higher education, in universities. Either the student is present or not present. The other is the timetable based. So we have the timetable and we say for each section, the timetable, I want to take attendance. That requires to have a timetable. If you don't have a timetable, you can go to the previous option, which is timetable periods. Basically, the system will bring just the periods there. So first hour, second hour, third hour. When we take attendance like this is only if we don't end the timetable in Classter and we want to take attendance multiple times per day, then we can use timetable period. But when we take attendance like this, we don't keep information about the particular subject related to the absence. So we know the student was Monday first period absent, but was this mathematics? Was it something else because we had a substitution or a change to the program? We don't know. When we use a timetable, then we know, we have more information. However, the substitution and the changes with the timetable doesn't work very nicely. This is the reason we have the sessions. Also, the session can say that when I move a lesson from Monday to Friday, that will be presented in the session, so I will take attendance over the session. So our suggestion is that if you want to take for every lesson attendance, use the session. This is the proper way to do it. Okay, and a final thing you can do is to use subject. For example, if you know that they have mathematics Monday, Wednesday, you want to take mathematics attendance on Monday. Say he was absent on mathematics. Now, was it 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, was 2 hours, 3 hours? We don't care. He was absent in mathematics, and then we add how many hours? 2 hours, 1 hour. This is used very much in supplementary schools, in training centers, in higher education. Now, Classter allows you to take attendance, to allow educators to take attendance when they do teaching or during the night, so you can go and enter the attendance you have taken in the paper, or using the mobile app, which I'm going to present you. And they can take attendance for normal classes and also for extracurriculum classes. And also we can have teachers giving the information to the back office employees, and the attendance can be registered by back office employees. The attendance can be taken in both cases by either per class or weekly. Back office employees, they have another tool which is called Fast Entry, which basically can use during the morning. They call you and they say, my son is sick, he's not coming. We give an absence for the whole week, for the whole day. Or he's not going to come for the whole week. He got COVID, an absence for the whole week in one go. Okay. The steps of the attendance are: we take attendance. If we want, we auto-verify or we manually verify the attendance records. Then they got visible to parents. Then we manage attendance. We can change. We can see the attendance. We can analyze. Parents or back office employees or students can go and justify attendance. Who can do it? It's configurable. We can notify parents or students about the record about the attendance. We can send reports, create reports, and we can analyze the attendance. See who has problems, who is going to have problems with restrictions, things like that. Attendance notification can be done automatically when attendance is registered, can be done manually by the back office employees, either on a weekly or a daily basis, or can be done using notification service, mainly for attendance problems, that you have so many attendance to send automatically the attendance notification. Okay, so let's go to see this. The first thing is to define in the settings of attendance how we take attendance. There is a general setting here. In this particular case, it is per subject, but be careful. That is overridden per year because we may want year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to be per day, then middle school to be per timetable and the high school to be per sessions. Okay, so the actual usually per year we define how we take attendance. So you can say in the academic attendance method, daily or any other, we will go through those. If initially everybody is present or absent, okay, and the limit for that year. Now, keep in mind the limit of attendance, which is used if you fail for the year, can be per year, per curriculum. So MBA has a limit for all years, or per subject. So mathematics, marketing, and system design, each one has its own limit. Okay, so the level of the limit is designed in the settings, how we want to handle the level. So here is a daily, as we said, once per day, per timetable period, first hour, second hour, per subject, per timetable. That is only for services. Usually it's not used here, and per session. Okay. Here, other things that are important. Usually we take attendance. When we take attendance, we are based on a timetable. So we want to have the timetable category, one timetable category selected. If we leave it empty, the system will decide itself based on defaults. Okay. In most cases, you select that. You can say that specific timetable categories should never be used for attendance. They are used for other things. You can enable fast attendance entry. This is for the back office only employees. Here is the controls. When an educator enters an attendance, if it's not verified, the educator can change it. Okay, if it doesn't press save and submit, still can change it. How many days can we change it? Actually, even if it's save and submit, if it changes or not depends on the attendance category type. I will come to that. If any comment that I add in the attendance taking is going to be presented to the parents, that's important. The substitution, we have discussed it already, and this is how the control is done on the limits. If the control is done on general total for all attendances I have taken per year. So the general total means that, let's say that we have a university, I do two programs together. I do MBA and I do mathematics. Okay, it can be minor or major. Is the attendance altogether counted, or it is one for the MBA and one for mathematics per year? So we put per year the limit. So depending on the year you have different attendance limit per stream, which is usually for language schools. So we have another limit for proficiency, another limit for FCE, for junior A, junior B, and so on, per subject. So each subject has its own attendance record and limitation. Okay, and per curriculum, if I do MBA or I do a bachelor in engineering, can be 4 years. The attendance is in total 4 years. Okay, or per year in the curriculum. This is then configured in curriculum. Okay, but 2 persons doing bachelor in engineering, one following the curriculum of 2020 and the other curriculum of 2021, which can be different, may have different limits on attendance. Okay, this is related to the attendance taking. If everybody is absent or present, this is overridden by the year. Few other things. The important thing is if we want to have predefined categories for presence, for lates, and for absence. Okay, if we have the button enable save and submit, this is very important. If the number of absences registered in entry can be modified by a teacher or by the user or not, or it's automatically calculated, and this is a pre-selected categories for the services, extracurriculum services. This is a big thing. We will check it at the end. We have the time related to notification, SMS push notification, email. Viber is coming in the next edition. And this is if we allow the student or the parent or based on the age to go and justify the absence on the portal. Okay, so let's go to a teacher and start taking attendance. So subject attendance, it is a way to take attendance, first of all, web-based. So you see year 6, this is a session. Auto-created when I press click, or if it's auto-created before, it's auto-created before, based on the bulk creation of sessions as we discussed. I have my sessions. I can add a comment for the session. I can change the hours. I can say finally it was not 2 hours, or we state another hour. Okay, so the attendance is for 2 hours. So I can do changes like that. And also I can assign an assessment. Why? That will take a presence. By taking presence to the session, take a presence to the assessment, to the examination. So if a session is related to an exam, then it connects the two attendance together. That is done only if I take attendance using sessions. And then search for that. As I said before, we can have presence in class or online. I can have different types of absences. How do I create these categories here? This can be done by the back office employees. You go to the attendance, drop down list. It's the second drop down, attendance categories. I can create as many as I wish. Any attendance can be authorized and unauthorized. Now, be careful. The presence online, presence cluster, they have no absence, they have no lates, so they are presence. This is how Classter thinks that this is a presence category. No absence, no lates. It should never be unauthorized. It's very strange to be present and unauthorized. It's a wrong configuration. It is allowed here, and let's say it's a disadvantage of the software, but if you do it correctly, your job, you should never add this as unauthorized. Authorized and unauthorized means that you can say a category to be, we know why they are missing, or we don't know why they're missing. It can be used also in the limitation, so we can have total number of absences, unauthorized number of absences. Okay, the label authorized and unauthorized and the label late can be set up in the terminology, so you can put your own labels to do other type of configurations also. Now, the other important thing is the verified. If this is checked, when I press save, it is auto-verified. That means it is visible directly to the parents of the students. If this is not checked, when I press save, it doesn't get verified, so you need to go to verify to be present. However, if I enable the button save and submit, by the time the teacher press save and submit, the system will anyway verify this absence. So that means that it overrides this setting. It doesn't play a role. This setting plays a role only when you press save. If you want to go with this setting, you need to disable save and submit. It was a setting that I presented before. Okay. So I can put that somebody's and a reason or late. And if I have a reason, I can add comments. If this is visible and allowed, I can change it or not change it. This can be visible or not visible. Now, a few other things. What are these icons? And if I press save here, you see the icons, they get color, the first status. Color means that something is saved. Gray means that nothing was saved till now. Now somebody's either present or absent. So that is saved. Okay, so but when I switch on, if I see gray out, means nothing is saved in the database for this student. Okay. Also, from here, I can press this button to start at the remarks. The remarks can be used instead of downs, or the daily marking. If you do very descriptive marking, you can say, so no homework done or no homework done. You can see I can have negative or positive points. I can put comments that are visible to parents and comments visible only to educators. So that can be this particular session. I gave them some remarks to the student, where with this button, let's save it. Where with the other button, I can see the remarks saved so far. Okay, this one means again on the pointing system, we behave on a point if I give negative points when somebody is late or somebody is absent. This means positive point when they are present, no points when they're late, negative points when they are absent. The pointing system can be used to create budgets, to give benefits, things like that, okay? And the positioning calendar gives me the last position where was registered for that student before, in the past, okay? Now, that means that the last time that was in the classroom at 20 past 3. That was the last time I did a check-in for the student. Now, check-in can be done when I take attendance. I basically check in the student to the classroom, to the particular classroom. Okay, keep in mind that the student may be checking to the hospital, to the medicine office, to the supervisor office, to the library, to the gym, to the whatever, to the garden. We can have check-ins areas in different areas. So that is a way to take attendance as a teacher. I can also see from here also, once I take attendance, I can see all the students who are present, and I start taking thumb up, thumb down from here. So if I don't want to use the session dashboard, few things that I do, the session dashboard, I can do it here from the attendance. So I can start using my tools from here also, the same way. Okay, so let's change class. Let's go here. Here you see, it's kindergarten. I take attendance only once per day. Either the student is present or not present for a day. So you see here that the student will come, it's the same thing, just as present or present, nothing else. Okay, there is nothing more than this. And I can say how many hours he was present or unpresent or late for an hour. So a simplified way of taking, not every lesson. Okay, in the 1B, it is using timetable periods. Let's take another one. This is session. 10B, it's timetable periods, but I don't see timetable very standardly. I don't know why. Why not? Let me, strange. I probably did some saves, I think. Timetable periods. Anyway, it should be the timetable periods here. I've done it before. I don't understand why not. Check the date. Okay. I have no idea. Let's check it here. So you see, this is timetable periods. It is where if I go, I think I did something with the timetable before I destroyed it. Here. And this is based on the timetable. So this is based on year 10 timetable. Okay. So I can take attendance based on this on this way, either on timetable periods, on timetable register. Otherwise, it's exactly the same thing. So you see now I did the same thing as a back office employees. Both back office and teachers, they can also take the weekly timetable, so they can see the whole structure per week. So let's say get kindergarten year 1A for a whole week. So the students, this is absent, 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 everybody absent for Thursday, the student absent for the whole week. Very easily, okay, everybody now got now the no reason. If I want here, I can go and say, I remove this. Okay, say that is sick doctor, and I will take the sick doctor. Okay, or if I want to take presence, I can take presence and put presence this one. An absence, sick doctor, like this. And if I click, I can see the reason here. I can write any comment for that particular date, and I keep all this information. Save and submit. I just say for the whole week for one student with very, very easy way. The same thing works then also with sessions, with timetable periods, and so on. So that is a very nice way to do it. Another way that we can take attendance, it is using the the fast entry. Okay, now, what's the fast entry? The fast entry is basically a tool, usually in the entry of the school or somebody who receives a phone call to start taking attendance. Now, one thing you can do this is to write a person. Okay, not maybe go somebody who has year. You cannot play fast entry with sessions. If it's session based, then it's not going to work. So let's take somebody in year 10. Find a student in year 10. I think year 10 is per timetable period, so sets find a student. It's a strange way to find a student though, but this is how it came to me. So Jesper. So let's take attendance. Okay, and I can say he's off for the rest of the day or specific hours. If it's morning, it's going to be the whole day. If it's select everything, it's a whole day. Okay, all the hours for this day for the student. It's going to be out. So that is another way to register attendance. You can also have, depending on the type, if it's daily, you can start from day to day. So for the whole week, so you can take attendance that way also. Now let's go to the student. Let me find the student or the parent. Sorry, that's closing a few things. This is a parent, and see what they see related to the attendance and how they can justify the attendance. So I can see for a period of time for each of my students what days they are present, what they are off. The reason I see some days present is because it's demo and we don't do attendance taking every day. We can see the attendance list on the bottom. But then we can justify attendance. Then we can some summaries. So what can we do? A new request. Check for attendance from the for today, let's say, or let's say it's beginning attendance address. So we find this one, okay, and we want to say that there was a medical reason. We want to upload a file. So I will upload this file and write some comments, save. And that now creates a request for the attendance. I think I selected a kind of big file, but anyway. So it took some time, but it is uploaded, the request. And now let's go back to see all this information back to the school administration. First of all, I can see the attendance list. So for a particular date or not multiple dates, I can see all the attendances. I can go and change in the bulk, verify, do things like that. I can change if we have modified or not the users, the parents or the student, and I can also send here a notification for the attendance. We have new identification per session per period. We can have different templates, and we can use these templates for presence, absence, and lates. If I can create for all of these, and the timetable, or if it's per day, they have other templates, and then I can identify the users. So if I want to send for all cases or not, this is configurable. So let's go back to the configuration a bit. In the notification services. Here, sorry, I went to the wrong place. Here we can select what we want, the templates, and if I want to send for absence, for presence, and so on. Okay, and what templates I want to use. Usually I have different templates for each case. Okay. I can in bulk do changes here, so I can verify in bulk all the absences if they're not verified. And then once I do verification, I send also the notification. So I verify and send them automatically. I can also do formal reviewers and put this reviewer date, and comment about this, and things like that. In the actions, I can go to attendance justification, and I can see any request sent here. I can see the files, download the files, and the entries related to this, how many absences there are. And then I can approve the justification, then the change. So that is going to be changed, and the file is going to be attached to this attendance, to this absence. So this is now verified back to the medical regions. This is we're going to do it. Let's go next. We have also the ability to take service attendance with extra curriculum. I'm not going to cover this, just very simply. I will say that if you go to the services, you can go. So any service. We can go and create a timetable here and say that this is Monday, these hours, so like this. So this is a way to create for extra curriculum services. Once we do this, and if we have students in the different services, I can go and take service attendance as a student, as a teacher, or as a student, as a back office. So let's. This is very generic now without a timetable, but it works. This will tell me if the student was absent during the morning. So here we can take attendance. Let me also show you a bit the mobile app, how we take attendance in the mobile app. I will log on as a teacher. don't know. Or maybe I will not. I don't know why. It doesn't work now. Yes, I think I presented most of the stuff. The time is passing actually. So the creation of sessions, Zoom, WebEx, and Teams. Just keep in mind that it can be auto-created. This can be done either per classroom or per teacher. So as a teacher here, I can go and put in my profile if I want to use specific personal room or allow the system to use not to use a personal room. Okay, which online provider I want, can be multiple providers enabled. In the configuration here, I can do the what I want to be used, and the important thing then is that if I decide, for example, let's go for example here in Zoom. We have API, we can use API secrets, API key, and then we can go to the classrooms and say that because it's using classroom, in the timetable we can say each classroom what Zoom virtual classroom is going to be associated with. So based on the timetable, we create we will schedule meetings in Zoom based on my classrooms, or it can be based on teachers. So here you decide and you go and configure that. So this is another way that you're going to use it. Few things we discussed about this. The RFID cards, when you do check-in, check-out, you can use RFID cards. So you can scan it or you can touch it and it's going to be used. And we have discussed that we are going to have the scholarship decoration and royal schedule decoration soon. So that is most of the stuff I want to present today. Do you have if you have any question, please feel free to send me now. Meanwhile, let me try this to see if it's going to work. I don't know why browser stuck had this problem. Probably I switched off. As you see, my computer is very slow, generally speaking. If you have any question, feel free to send. I will try to show you a bit how we take attendance using mobile. Okay, guys, I think the internet is not helping me much today. I see there are no questions, so thank you very much for today. Till next seminar, have a nice afternoon.